What's up, guys? I haven't seen you in a minute. Where have you been? Completely disappear on me? Go completely ghost? Tell me nothing about it? I'm joking. I know. I've been silent for a while and I kind of want to do an explanation as to why. Plus, talk about some inspiration that got me here and give you guys some good news that you probably already saw in the film. To start off, I just want to say I appreciate each and every person that supports this channel. A lot of you reached out and was wondering why I went so silent, and the other half of you kind of gave a shh, he's gonna come back swinging. Seeing my channel grow while I'm completely silent is mind blowing. It really puts a knot in my throat and butterflies in my stomach to see you guys so inspired by my content and excited to see what I come out with next. The support on this channel is unlike any feeling I've ever had. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. The reason why I went so silent was because I wanted to just get my head screwed on the right way, fuel this passion, and really get my priorities straight. I just needed to take a step in the right direction. All of this, I don't think I would have done without any of you. I don't think I'd even be here without any of you. Running around as a kid with a bunch of skaters that would harass their local police department by getting kicked out from every single skate spot we ever skated was something I didn't think would snowball effect into where I am right now. And the very first love and passion I've ever experienced. Skateboarding quite literally has turned into the core of who I am. All of the inspirations from Thrasher, Barracks, all the pros out there, Death Wish, Baker, I can name thousands of inspirations that kept me skating. I appreciate the skateboarding community and every single one of you guys that make it such a loving community. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys out there that just keep it underground and keep it hardcore. Running into cinematography was completely and utterly because of skateboarding. Getting better and better, I was like, I need to get this on film. And I started out with one of those little flip out camcorders that I made a film you guys know as Dead Dreams. Looking back at that film, it was at the time something that I needed to get out there. It was the first time I ever put emotion and expressed fully with a camera. I look back at that film and I'm still very proud of that film. And I'll admit it's not my best, but I'm proud that it got out there. Sooner or later I start gaining followers, and it wasn't until I got my first DSLR that I started taking, I'd say maybe a nudge towards cinematography. My first DSLR was a Canon EOS 1000D, and I didn't really know anything about a camera. It wasn't until I ran into this camera, the Canon 80D, that I started feeling like there's something to this. I used to watch a content creator called Chris Ramsey, and I used to watch him because I liked learning sleight of hand from him. He's a really cool dude, and overall his content in general is very inspirational and entertaining. He always kind of dropped this guy's name though, and I never really let it stick. Kind of always went right over my head. And I guess because the algorithm of Chris Ramsey and this guy being friends, a video popped up the minute I looked up how to use this camera. And it was a video called 6 Camera Hacks or 8 Camera Hacks in 60 Seconds by Peter McKinnon. The thumbnail was of him holding a blade to the lens. And I was like, what? It was a must click for me. Clicking on that video, I see he's using this camera as the subject for all the examples he displays in this video. Doing all these insane things that blew my mind. And I went, who is this guy? And he has this camera, so maybe he knows more about this camera. And I dug deeper into his channel. I find another video that has him comparing this camera to a 1DX Mark II. And seeing that camera for the first time, he goes through the specs of this one and then goes through the specs of that one. It's nowhere near an equal comparison, but seeing that camera for the first time, I was like, wait a minute. If this camera can do this, what can that one do? And being at the first little baby steps into cinematography, I went, no, forget it. let me work with this camera. Let me get to know the ins and outs of this camera first. And I did through his channel. I figured out what ISO is, exposure, f number, how to pair a lens to a camera, how to color grade, all through his channel. I ran into another film on his channel, The Mountains Won't Remember Me. And I saw that film and went, that's what I want to do. That film hit me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's still one of my favorite films from Peter McKinnon. And I think that's when I went, I want to do that. I want to express with this craft like that. And out of nowhere, I found it. Because of Peter McKinnon, I found my style, my way of editing footage, editing photos, making B-roll the right way. And I started creating, making these beautiful things like Aurora that I'm still proud of to this day. And this whole time I'm watching his channel, he pulls the 1DX Mark II out. And I go, there it is again, his workhorse, his favorite camera, his baby. I wanted that camera really bad for a minute. I went, that's his camera. I don't want to, maybe I got to find my own, and it would come back here and there. I would think about that camera, the 1DX Mark II. That's an insane camera. Did you hear the shutter speed on it? And I would always see it. There it is again. There, Peter McKinnon's Mark II, his baby. It wasn't until I see a video pop up, and it's him going to Canon HQ to see the first glimpses of the 1DX Mark III. Opening it up, taking the gnarly B-roll of it, and how hyped he was on it really was something that made me kind of jump in my seat. And then at the end of the video, he goes, I really wanted to take it outside. I really wanted to give it a test run. And I'm kind of sitting here like, what? He walked out without that camera? But something about that camera stuck to me. If the 1DX Mark II is Peter McKinnon's baby, what if, no. And then I see another video. He gets it. He goes to his friend's leather shop to interview him about his passions and the things he loves doing. Then takes B-roll with this camera. And it blew me away. Those are the only two videos I see of Peter McKinnon holding that camera. He doesn't really speak about it anymore. He goes back to film, like actual film. And the last pieces of him were shooting with an R6, I think. I started looking up everything about that camera because of how high the specs were, how crazy this camera was compared to the Mark II. I needed to know more about it. And taking those first few steps for myself led me to what made you take these steps. And it was my passions. And I spun my head, picked a direction, and left a trail. And out of nowhere, I thought of a goal. And I said, do I really want to go for that? Is that worth it? Life made me question it. I questioned it every day. I said, yeah, let's go. Making it to the halfway point of that goal, again, completely silent on YouTube, Instagram, and every other platform. I'm like, but wouldn't it be insane? And life went, would it? I went, But I think it was just the skater in me, the determination, the never quit factor that kept me going. And I go an hour out, and I'm on hold for what seemed to be an hour. Now, my goal is staring me dead in my face. I'm looking dead at this thing, and I'm going, there it is. But I'm sitting in this store, and my dad walks in, because he was my ride there. And he goes, what is happening? Why have we been sitting outside for an hour? I thought it was going to be a come in, walk out. Mind you, I tried 3 other different scenarios not to go out an hour from my house to try and do this. This was the only time I was able to look it dead in its face. And my dad saw that. That's the whole reason why he gave me the ride. He saw how much time I was putting into this and what it meant to me. He looks at the box, looks at me, and goes, what, you can't leave? You can't leave without it? And he puts his card on the table and he goes, why don't you leave with it then? And I have to thank him for everything he's done, the opportunities he's given me. We drive home from that store and I pay him back a day later. in complete denial. I wake up the next morning and I look over and I'm holding it. The 1DX Mark III, the camera I dreamed about for years. Having this camera in my hands is a complete enigma in my mind. I never thought I would have this camera in my hand. Peter McKinnon's workhorse was the Mark II. Thank you to everyone, all of you, that pushed me to get to this point. My channel growing while I'm completely silent. 1.5K. Thanks to all of you that support this channel and my passion and the things that mean so much to me. I remember talking about the beginning a while ago. I don't think I know what that meant. I think this is the beginning.